What is up, guys? I'm still sitting here ripping some CDs. So I'm gonna redo my video for Baron Rojo, or Baron Rojo. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know the correct way to say it. It just means Red Baron. That's all I know. But this is Spanish, as in metal from Spain. These guys are the biggest Spanish band as far as I know. Let's see here. I'll pull them up on the old Metal Archives. Sorry, my screen's really big. If you want to know why I'm looking up like at the ceiling. I know I'm not trying to find the Red Baron. They're from Madrid, community of Madrid. They're still active, formed in 1980, and I actually only have like everything up until 1992. I've got all of them up to that point. So just kind of looking here. Interesting. Okay, so I'll start with the first album, Larga Vida El Rock and Roll. I absolutely love Spanish metal, by the way, and Baron Rojo is one of those bands that caught me by storm. Nobody ever really talks about them, and I don't understand why. They're really, really good, but they do kind of have like a golden era, and I think you can kind of start it with this album, even though it's a little flawed. I mean, look at that album cover. That's kind of cool. Like, it's just like Galaga or something, or with a Red Baron playing in there. It's just thrown in there. I love it. This album is pretty good. It's the production sucks. I'll say that. It's got too much high end, and it's just like, it honestly feels like it's going to hurt your speakers. Like, there's just so much high end, so you almost have to add bass to it before you listen to it. It's so bad, but musically though, it's really good. Like, just raw heavy metal, rock and roll. And that's another thing about Spanish bands, is their metal, it kind of teeters on like the hard rock heavy metal, but it's definitely heavy enough to be metal. There's some songs on here that are a little bit rock, but there's definitely some faster songs on here, some twin guitar harmonies on here, and I don't know, I love it. It's really good, apart from the production. I wouldn't say every track is great, but it's mostly pretty good. Their second album, this is like their big classic, Volume and Brutal. I even heard before that Lars Ulrich, whatever, from Metallica said that this was one of his top favorite albums from back in the day. I don't know if that's true. I've just heard it before. And say what you want about Lars, he brought all this metal back over to Metallica. And yeah, with no Lars, no Metallica. But here, hold on a second. So I just, I gotta put another new CD in here to rip. Kind of multitasking. You can kind of hang out with me while you see me in action doing this. Yep. I wish this could be a faster process, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, back to Volume and Brutal. So, like, the music on here is just fantastic. It's definitely got a hard rock vibe, but it's heavy enough to be metal, and then there's definitely some fast songs, some slower songs. Believe it or not, there's even some slide guitar on here. Like, they did that on a few albums, and you would think it would be out of place, but it actually works. So, yeah, this is one of those albums where, like, every song is really good. There's even a saxophone solo in one song. I don't care for that, but despite that, everything is pretty awesome. Now, this could be like their second best. It's almost as good as Volume and Brutal. This is Metamorphosis. Kind of almost similar to a Sortilege album, but title-wise. But yeah, it's got a little Red Baron on it. Again, it's the same kind of hard rock gone heavy metal as the last album. Production's really good. I will say that. This and the last album, the production value really ramped up. I mean, for its time, like when did these come out? So the first Baron Rojo was 81, Volume and Brutal was 82, and this was also 82. So they were recorded in the same year, or released in the same year at least. Pretty amazing, and they both sound awesome. So yeah, those two are the ones you need to pick up first, if anything. But it doesn't end there. This is probably the last album in their golden era. In Un Lugar de la Marcha, whatever. Always, this album cover is actually kind of interesting. It's Don Quixote in space. I didn't know that for a long time. The windmills, Lance. I don't know. It's kind of neat. This one's probably one of their heaviest, probably their most straightforward metal albums. I don't think it's a little bit less good than the last two albums, but it's still really good. And this one came out in 85. Wow. Wait, no. I read something wrong. No, I read something wrong. Volume and Brutal and Metamorphosis, it was 82 and 83. I was looking at... Metal Archives is showing two versions of Volume and Brutal, so I don't know, that confused me. So no, this one's 85. This one is a little bit, the production's still good. It's a little bit muddier at times. But it's still pretty good. Like, definitely the first four or the past three albums at least are must-haves. Then it gets a little funky. Tierra de Natty or Naughty. I don't know. This is kind of where it gets a little weird. It still sounds good, but there's some good songs on it, some good couple fast songs on it, but the most of it's like it's trying to go a little bit more commercial, I feel. I don't know. It's still got some good songs, but I skip a lot of stuff on here. I feel like the first half of the album's really good. The second half kind of gets lost within me. Like, I don't remember them as well. This one came out in 87, but really not much to say about this one. And things get even worse, actually. So, Nova Mas would be their next album. This came out in 88. Things really went downhill here. There's still some good songs on it, but the production's gotten weirder. The guitars are thinner. The songs just sound cheaper. I don't know. They just don't sound as good. And they were kind of going for a little bit more of a late 80s reverby type of sound. But imagine like Somewhere in Time if it wasn't that good and tried to go commercial. I don't know. It's not horrible, but it's not their best. It's not their best. The next one, Obstinato. Came out in 1989. This one tries to pick up. It's a little more. Tries to be a little more metal at times than the past two, but it kind of fails. The production's horrible. It's like there's just too much high end at times too. Not as bad as the first Baron Rojo, but too much high end. It just sounds messy. I don't know. It's not put together well. It's not a fun listen. But there are some good tracks on here, and I really can't point them out because this one's just hard to listen to, but not one I highly recommend unless you're just a big fan. But I will say that one also kind of, after that, a couple members left. I think like the bass player and vocalist left, and then they did this in like 92. Yeah, 92. Desafio. This one is better, a lot better than the last couple. Again, the production's not perfect, but it's not terrible. I do kind of like the guitar sound. The music's a little heavier. It's still got that hard rock vibe in it, but yeah, it's definitely a step up. And after that, I really haven't checked out much more. Their next album would come out in '97, but you know, they're still around. But I don't know. I just think they're a neat band. But the first four albums, man, I'm telling you, you need those. Like those are for your heavy metal collection for sure. If you're a collector like me and you just like some good metal that's outside the box. But anyway, it's all for Baron Rojo. Next time I'll talk about the second biggest Spanish metal band, 80’s. Pretty good band, a little different. But if you like this video, like, subscribe. Till next time, stay metal.